Is he doing his exercises?
Yeah, he's doing them. He's doing his exercises.
He can do more, right?
Yes, he can.
Let's be honest, some patients on this show are just full of surprises. They always find a way to surprise Dr. Now, and even he can't believe some of their stories or the things they have gone through. These are some of those situations where the doc was left in shock. This is Fedric's story. All Fedric does is eat. He says that eating makes him feel better because most of the time, he never feels good. Fedric can't fit into any type of car properly. Anytime he wants to go out with his mother, his position in the car is the trunk because he is too fat to fit into any of the seats. He is 32 and he has zero idea what he weighs. His mornings are the absolute worst. He struggles to get up from his bed every day. To make things worse, he has lymphedema, and that just makes his life a living nightmare. Is this going to be his wake-up call to get things right with his health? Let's find out. This is how Fedric's story begins.
And my size make getting up to do anything a struggle, especially with the car. I have lymphedema in my lower extremities and it makes it very hard to walk. And that can be very dangerous. You gotta watch what you step, and you can't bump to no sharp objects. You can't brush against no doors, cause if you do, your legs will start leaking.
Well, I'm just glad that he doesn't stay alone. I can't even imagine him having to go through all this all by himself. He says that he has lived with his mother since he came into the world. He is too big to be on his own, so his mother helps him with almost everything. His mother is his primary caregiver because, down to having his bath, Fedric can't even do that by himself. But let's be honest, it's really good to see that his mother is willing to take care of him even in his current state.
Fedric loves the ice cream. Fedric hear this music coming around the block. Fedric gets up. He has an account with the ice cream man. Where do the ice cream man open up an account for somebody to get something off the truck every day?
I would say when the ice cream man pulls up, it's the best part of my day. The treats make it worth it for me to push myself to walk outside. And that's my exercise for the day.
Hey, what can I get for you today?
Please, what's going on?
All right.
Ha ha ha. Who knew you could have an account with the ice cream man? Fedric must really love his ice cream. Even his mother is surprised that her son actually has an ice cream account with the ice cream man. Fedric loves ice cream so much that the only thing he wants to do after having his bath is go outside and wait for the ice cream truck. You can tell that Fedric and the ice cream man are very good friends. The moment he arrived, it felt like Fedric's best pal just pulled up. At least he has something that makes him get out of the bed. With his size, that's enough exercise for the morning.
So I start eating a lot for pleasure then. And by the time I started school next year, I was around 150 pounds. But when they bullied me at school and made fun of me because of my weight, I fight them to show them that I was tough. And afterwards, I go eat as much as I could to make me feel better. And I started gaining a lot because I kept eating a lot.
Hearing all of that, it's really hard to blame Fedric for loving food. Right from when he was a kid, he went through so many traumatic experiences. The very first one was when he lost his great-grandmother on Halloween. He used food as a way to get the emotions out of his head. That in turn made him add so much weight, and kids in school started to bully him. He would fight them off but run back home and use food to console himself from all the bullying. The final blow was when his dad got arrested and he never saw his dad again. That just broke him into a million pieces because he and his dad were pretty close.
We started noticing the growth coming out of his leg and went to the doctors. The doctors couldn't tell us what was going on. And the growth kept getting bigger and Fedric kept getting bigger.
I had lymphedema and it was getting bigger. Over the next 3 or 4 years, all I do is just sit around and eat. So I just got worse from that.
Poor Fedric. You can see it in his eyes and the way he sits back to think that he hates how things are at the moment, as if the bullying from school and not getting to see his father were not enough. He developed lymphedema, and that just made his mobility close to useless. When he went to see the doctors to complain, they told him that there was nothing they could do to help him. So all he does now is sit down at home and feel miserable. Food is honestly the only thing that brings him joy.
That I have no choice, and whether I keep on living or dying, because my body gonna make that decision for me.
Fedric sits home, don't go anywhere. And the last 12 years, Fedric been home. It's been a struggle for him.
I can feel it getting bad. And it's to the point now where I know I'm not gonna go on living soon if I don't change.
I'm just glad that he knows that his eating style is very dangerous to his health, and one day his body is going to give up on him. Fedric snacks on a lot of junk food, and that's what makes him feel soft after eating so much food. He is worried that at the rate he is going, he might end up not being able to get out of the bed at all, and that would be devastating. Is this where he gets to make the decision to change for the better? Who knows? If you ask me, I think it's high time he sets up a meeting with Dr. Now.
I'm scared, but I'm gonna do it with my mom. But I still have concerns because it's a big undertaking to get someone my size around.
good? I'm gonna put a car around.
But I'm willing to make this attempt to get help because I know I need it. And there ain't no options here.
Pretty well. You can't get up there? You got in the wrong. You got in too tight.
At least he was able to get into the vehicle. That's really all that matters if you ask me. Fedric's mother got his siblings to come to the house and convince him that he needed to make the trip to Houston to the doctor. He eventually agreed, and now he is about to make a long trip to see Dr. Now. As you can see, getting into the car seems to be a bit of a problem. One thing I can tell you is that this is not going to be an easy ride. It's good he has his mother to keep him company.
I'm in Houston to see Dr. Now, but I have to get my weight and I'm worried about how it's gonna be. I was 663 pounds my last weigh-in, and I'm hoping I'm still in the 600s at least.
740.
Geez, that number is through the roof. His mother's facial expression says it all. That's not a number they were hoping to see on the scale. Fedric and his mother made it to the hospital after a very stressful ride. Fedric hopped on the scale with the hopes of being within 600 pounds. The scale showed that his current weight is over 700 pounds, and they don't seem too pleased with those figures. Well, let's see what Dr. Now has to say. But damn, 700 pounds is a lot.
I want you at the end of the day look at him to see what you have done with his eating habit and improve that.
Okay.
But I have a concern about his travel. Before he come back, I want you to take him to a doctor to make sure his body is doing okay. And ultimately, you both need to move down here.
Okay.
Dr. Now definitely wants him to get better, but the real deal is if Fedric has what it takes to get better. Dr. Now tells him that he is not too far from the end of the line, and he needs to start making changes to his eating habits. The doc wants him to lose 80 pounds in a month, and if he needs that goal, he wants them to move down to Texas so they can proceed with the weight surgery. But first, Fedric has to show the doc that he can actually lose weight on his own.
Yeah, that's a fight, but I get on it.
He may fight you on it, but you need to support him to do what he needs more than you have. Because look at him, I don't see a lot of progress. Fedric, you don't look like you lost much. So I'm concerned about the progress you actually making. Do you feel like you lost any weight?
Kinda.
Things have not been going so well for Fedric. He missed his appointment with Dr. Now, and now the doc reached out to him through a video call to find out what was going on. So far, Fedric has been doing okay with his diet. The only problem now is that the lymphedema does not allow him to move around as much as he should. The doc is worried that this might be an issue because he needs to move around as often as he can so he doesn't end up bedridden.
Problem with the potatoes is that starches are sugar. And so the carbs are coming from your vegetables. You know, your vegetables are also carbohydrate.
Really?
Yes, yeah. What we're talking about when Dr. Now says low carb, he's talking about no processed food or grains or like pastas, no processed carbohydrate, because that's very high in sugar. They're just like candy and cookies. It's the same, it's all the same because it's all sugar.
Wow.
Everyone loves a good lemonade. I'm not surprised it's his favorite drink. So the doc noticed that Fedric was having issues working with the diet that was given to him. The doc then set him up with a dietitian who would put him through and explain to him why he really needs to stick to the diet word for word. If he really hopes to make the cut for his weight loss surgery, he needs to listen to her advice. Let's hope that after the meeting, Fedric gets approved for the surgery.
Well, that's good. Let's keep that going. So, Fedric, I'm proud of you for that weight loss, okay? So keep it up and make sure you lose your 25 pounds, then we're going to do some tests on him. In the meantime, if y'all need anything, give me a call.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay? All right. See y'all later.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
You're welcome.
This is Melissa's story. Melissa knows that her body is not supposed to be the way it is. She knows that she is supposed to be able to function like a normal person, but sadly, her body has grown beyond the ordinary. She is 36 years old, and trust me when I say, her weight is way too high. For her, waking up every morning feels like a new day to go through so much pain. For most of her life, she has tried to stay away from people so she doesn't get judged and think about her situation. Can Dr. Now help Melissa? Well, this is how her story begins.
I can't ignore it now. Because when you get to my size, it's like the world is on my shoulders and all over my body. And it's just globs of fat just like flopping around. Of course, you're not supposed to be this weight, and you're supposed to be able to function as a normal person.
Wow, this is no way to live life at all. It almost feels like torture having to watch Melissa struggle every morning. Every morning when she tries to have her bath, she has to be extra careful because her legs are so weak from having to carry her body, and she doesn't want to fall down in the bathroom. She hates the fact that she can't function like a normal person because of all her excess weight. The fact that this is her morning routine makes her depressed and less of herself all the time.
It doesn't judge you, it just helps you cope and you feel good. It fulfills that high. The only problem with food is the after effects. As soon as I'm done eating, then it goes back to scheduled programming of feeling depressed and feeling unwanted.
Man, it's sad to see that the only thing that gives Melissa joy is the same thing that's making her life a living hell. In her words, she says that food is the only thing that brings her peace and makes her forget that she has a life she needs to worry about. The sad part is that when she's done eating and gets all the satisfaction she needs, she then starts to feel the after effect of food, and it makes her so sad. This is what her life is like, having to repeat this cycle every day.
Dinner would be a few hours later, and she would make you this mass plate because she's feel guilty for calling you stupid all day. So, I took food as love from her, and I wanted that. I wanted to know she felt bad for the things that she would say to me. But my mother made me finish every morsel on that plate.
Looks like her mother was the major reason she loved food from a very young age. Her mother was very abusive to her while growing up. She would call Melissa hurtful names, and her way of making it up to Melissa was to give her lots and lots of food. Melissa, trying to make her mother feel bad, would eat and eat and eat till there was nothing left on the plate. Imagine a child eating the same amount of food that a full-grown adult would eat. That's just crazy. It's even crazy that mother made her finish every meal that she was given.
When I got myself into that situation. But after my abortion and depression, I felt a lot of regret and I felt guilt. So I went back to food to cope with the pain, and I started getting bigger. The food didn't make the depression I had go away, and it got too overwhelming for me that I didn't want to do anything.
I'm just glad she has someone who cares about her and comes to check on her very regularly. But damn, her life growing up has not been an easy one. Her dad and mom split and it broke her emotionally. To make things even worse, she got pregnant and had to abort the baby. The guilt from aborting the child got to her, and she drowned her sadness and depression in food. Shay is the only friend she has that takes the time to come see her and make sure she's good. Phew, you can't but feel sorry for Melissa.
The people who do love me and appreciate me that are still here, who count on me, won't have me, and that's not fair. And I know life is not supposed to be fair. Or just start planning your funeral, and I don't want to die.
Let's hope that never happens and nobody gets to bury her. Melissa has been lost in thought for quite some time now. She knows that her eating habit is doing some serious damage to her health, but she doesn't know how to go about getting better. Her friend Shay comes over to see her, and they have a conversation about seeing the doc. Shay is finally able to talk her into making the bold step of going to Houston and meeting up with Dr. Now. Let's hope things go well, and the doc puts her on his weight loss program.
Melissa?
This is the first step for me getting my life back. It's been years since I've been on a scale, so I'm worried about where my weight is at today. Seeing that number come up is never easy, and it only gets harder the bigger it gets.
Well, that's actually true. Her weight might not be over 600 pounds, but it's definitely on the high side. Melissa and her friend drove down to the hospital to meet up with Dr. Now. As we all know, the drill before seeing the doc is to check the weight on the scale. Melissa hoped that she was not going to be in the 600s, and to her surprise, she was a few figures short of reaching 600 pounds. She might be a bit relieved, but we can't deny that 592 pounds is still on the high side. Well, let's see what Dr. Now thinks of her situation.
You're going to be easily able to lose 60 pounds in 2 months. And if you do that, then we'll consider you for weight loss surgery. Okay? But right now, it's not going to be safe for you to have a surgery this way that you are. So you're going to have to lose some weight to change that before surgery is even an option for you.
I always love when Dr. Now is being honest with his patients. Man just doesn't have the time to fool around. He breaks down the whole situation and tells Melissa that she has to stop seeing food as her comfort. One bad day or one moment she feels sad does not mean she has to eat the entire world. He plans on making sure that she sees a psychotherapist to help her address the situation. Aside from that, he wants to put her on a diet and a couple of exercises so she can start to cut down some weight. Whew, looks like Melissa has a lot she has to do.
I'm at Dr. Now's for my second appointment to see if I made it to my goal to get weight loss surgery. I've worked really hard, so I'm expecting to see good results, but I'm still nervous to find out what I've lost. Dr. Now told me to lose 60 pounds over the last 2 months. So that means I need to at least gone from 592 to 532 by today.
548.
Really?
Now that is actually impressive. I mean, it's not the goal she was supposed to meet, but it's not so far from it, and if you ask me, I'd say that's good progress. At her last appointment, Dr. Now wanted her to lose 60 pounds before her next appointment. She makes it to the second appointment, and she's been able to lose 44 pounds. It might not be what the doc wanted her to lose, but she does show that she can actually put in the work to lose the weight. That's really all that matters.
I would approximately say I went into a really deep depression about 3 years ago. I lost my mother in 2019.
And that corresponded exactly with your weight gain?
Oh, extremely. Like, binge eating and definitely not acknowledging other circumstances of how to cope.
Wow. How did that affect?
It kind of seems surreal. Like she hasn't left.
Well, the therapist isn't wrong. Melissa can't continue to blame herself for her parents' shortcomings and disappointment. Melissa has been struggling to meet her weight gain for weight loss surgery. The doc asked her to go see the therapist and talk about the things that make her feel less of herself. Apparently, she has kept the trauma of her mother abusing her locked up in her heart all these years, and it's taking a toll on her. The therapist wants her to let go of that guilt, but it seems like it's not as easy as it looks.
The problem is the same environment that got you to be 600 pounds is there. So I'm not sure what kind of support you're looking for in Florida, but it doesn't seem like you have it. And the other issue is if you start to gain again, it's more difficult for us to intervene when you're not here.
I guess.
Looks like Melissa is going to have to move down to Houston without her family, therapy worker, and she was able to let go of her past trauma. She lost enough weight and Dr. Now approved her for weight loss surgery. What troubles the doc now is the fact that Melissa feels like she can't move down to Houston on her own. He is scared that if she ends up coming down to Houston with her family, they'd make her add more weight. Let's see if her family is going to be a good influence or a bad one.
I have to set them for that purpose, to be able to process things and to not only cope with food.
The simple fact that you are acknowledging what it is that you need to change in your life is a big step. If you remember what you're coming from, you'll enter into where you're going. It's going to be hard, but you have to push yourself because you know what it is that you're trying to do, and you can do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Kennai's story. Kennai's means of moving around her house is with the help of the walls. If the walls did not exist, she honestly could not do anything. Her life is honestly unbearable, and she hates that she allowed herself to get so fat. She's so fat that she needs the help of her nephew to be able to get out of bed. Oh, and let's not get started on how hard it is for her to even take a shower. She goes through so much pain, trust me, but is this going to make her change her eating habit? Let's find out. This is how her story begins.
Hey, fat. I'm ready to get up, baby. And my sister-in-law, Shawanda, and 3 children who belong to Shawanda. They're the responsibilities of raising, but every single one of them has to have ending is a painful thing for me now. I can't stand up on my own to the minute mark. I'm in tears.
Men, she doesn't have it easy at all. I'm just glad that she doesn't stay all by herself. Getting to do anything would be almost impossible. Kennai stays with quite a number of her family members. She is supposed to help her raise the kids in the house, but sadly, it's the total opposite. Kennai can't stand for more than 45 seconds. If she does, her legs start to hurt so much and she begins to tear up. Believe me when I tell you that she's in a really bad situation.
You can't be 600 pounds and have to help when you take a shower to keep you from smelling. So I just swallow my pride and let them know that I just can't reach. Even the fact that I have to get cleaned outside of the shower.
Now you understand when I say she goes through a lot just to have her bath every morning. Kennai can't have her bath on her own, so she has to rely on the kids to help her out. She hates that they have to do it, but there's pretty much nothing she can do about it because she has no control over her situation. What's worse is that she makes a big mess when she's done having her bath, and the kids still have to clean up after her. That just makes her feel horrible because she hates that she has to put the kids through all of that. I wonder how she got this big to begin with.
But I was still able to manage pretty home after high school to start working. I moved away from home. I was independent and had to fend for myself. But that independence wasn't good for my groceries. I ate out. I was making my own money. So my eating habits changed. And it was at that time I had gotten up to around 400 pounds. I feel bad because I could still move around.
I guess we know where her eating problems originated from, right from when she was a kid. One of the ways her mother made her and her siblings happy was by giving them a lot of food. Kennai just couldn't say no anytime her mother offered her food. It got worse when she started to live on her own. This time, no one was there to control her eating, and she was making her own money. Once she finished work, her next stop was to get fast food, and there was no end to how much food she got.
We were both kind of intrigued because we couldn't get the one up. Next thing you know, we're standing before the judge in our bags, but by the grace of God, years later, here we are.
And our love it's only gotten stronger. There were some struggles. Infertility on the relationship.
That must have been devastating, wanting to make her husband happy by giving him children but being unable to. Wow. Kennai says that another thing that made her blow up so much was that she was diagnosed with PCOS. The condition prevented her from having kids, and it made her triple in size. Her husband never made her feel bad about not giving him kids, but she felt really bad because she wanted to have kids of her own. All that just made her drown her sadness in food.
There's still a chance for me abundantly and not a shell of a life. Running with them, playing with them, tell me to die, really. I want to be healthy, to be happy. I'm going to be able to do any of.
It's always a beautiful thing when patients finally realize that they have to make a change. Kennai says that she wants to live, and if she has to stay alive, she wants to be very much involved in her family's lives too. She knows that her situation is really bad, and if she doesn't do anything about it very soon, things might turn out very, very badly. Looks like she's ready to change and meet the doc. Now she has to make the trip down to Houston, but we all know that's not going to be an easy trip for her.
Kennai?
Me to see it either because I never told him, because seeing the number weight, I was 613. So afraid that it's gonna be, I really don't want to see it.
Technically, she added 1 pound. That's not bad, right? Oh well, Kennai finally made it to the hospital after a stressful trip. She was scared that when she checked her weight on the scale, it was going to show something higher than what she used to weigh. She checks her weight, and it shows that she weighs 614 pounds, adding 1 extra pound to what she used to weigh. It's still on the high side. Let's see what Dr. Now thinks about her situation.
My concern is that the whole family is still going to help your future for the kid. Changes you should to get healthy. Ultimately, all come down to,
Yes, sir.
if you're 600 pounds, if you stick to 1,200 calories, you'll lose 100 pounds in 1 month.
Okay.
Okay?
Dr. Now isn't wrong, but we can't deny the fact that he likes Kennai. He tells her that on a very good day, he would want her to lose at least 100 pounds in a month, but he gives her another option. He says that if she can at least lose 60 to 80 pounds in a month, he would put her on the weight loss program, and if she shows him that she really has what it takes, he is going to approve her for weight loss surgery. The big question now is if Kennai really has what it takes to lose weight. I guess we're going to find out.
And that's all probably gonna come down. At my last visit 2 months ago, I was 614, lose 75 pounds in 2 months. Be at 539 or today.
592.
Her face says it all. She is disappointed in herself. After the first appointment, Kennai went back home and did the best that she could. Believe me, she did put in the work, but struggled with walking around due to the pain she felt in her leg. She made it back for her second appointment, and sadly, she's been able to lose only 22 pounds. You can bet that Dr. Now is not going to be happy with the progress she has made.
You're exactly right. I'm the doctor who's telling you how do you come in and see us and not following the diet, because everything is up to you. It's not up.
Stop.
What is with this attitude?
I am upset because you were. I am upset because I knew that 22 pounds was not enough. And instead of asking me what type of changes I had made, what type of diet I had been on.
Wow, now that's a reaction I was not expecting to see from Kennai. After checking her weight, the doc comes to talk to her about her weight. He explains to her that the reason she's not losing as much weight is because she's not following the diet like she should. Instead of telling the doc she'll do better, she gets into her feelings and gets angry with the doctor now. She's upset because the doc refused to recognize the effort she's putting in. She even says that losing 100 pounds in a month is not possible and the doc should know better.
I don't know. I don't think I have a relationship.
So how'd you get her sitting in my office?
I don't know.
I do.
Waking, at least one of us does.
You're in denial, refusing to grieve your mother, grow or benefit from it. Mom, we're still around. What would she think of how you think she would be upset with you?
Yeah, I guess so.
Looks like all that was needed was therapy. After the argument she had with Dr. Now, he felt she needed therapy, so he asked her to go see the therapist. She did talk about some of the things that were bothering her, but her main issue lies with the fact that she blames her mom for the way she is. Now that she's done with therapy, let's hope she can finally lose weight and get her weight loss surgery.
And I want you to lose another 30. I want to approve you for weight loss surgery. Sound good?
That sounds great. Thank you.
And start running some tests. And today I want to do some blood work.
Yes, sir.
And EKG on your heart and see what's going on. Then we'll move ahead with baby.
Yes, sir.